Well, I'm back after something like a week. My last video, I went over a basic generic scenario of my goal is to find a deeper happiness, not just satisfaction and this perpetual, well, I'll be happy once I've accomplished this and once I've done that. And it's like you can get a certificate of completion, but that doesn't entail happiness. So, after that video, I went to this little rinky dink tiny festival out east, and it was very small. It's in a mountain valley, and it was just different. I went to Bonnaroo. Bonnaroo was my first festival, and that was this elaborate, large, huge corporate light show, and it was beautiful and it was fun, and it was a great on ramp into festival life. Then, uh, I think it's been a month, 2 months, something like that. Doesn't matter. Went to this tiny festival called Astral Echoes. Yes, Astral Echoes, and it's just small artists, small community. Couldn't have had more than 250 people there all together. And I went there, and I wanted to do something different from Bonnaroo. See, at Bonnaroo, I went and I had these lofty expectations, and I created a narrative in my head of how I wanted things to play out. And that blew up in my face, like explosively. And I told myself before going here, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to embarrass myself and live out in some delusion of nonsense. I want to go and I want to have fun. And you know what I did? I went in with a bunch of delusions and narratives in my head. Who would have guessed, right? So I go here and I have a wonderful first night. The first day there, it was interesting. I hadn't fully vibed into things yet, but I was enjoying myself. I was dancing, I was meeting people, I was talking to people, and it was fun. It was fun. I was having fun. Uh, I think we saw aliens, but I'm not gonna harp on that because aliens. And then the next day, my buddy and I took a relatively large dose of something, and I won't say what it is, but it's gonna be pretty obvious from the story. So, first hour or so is fine. We're having fun. I think we explored a creek for a bit. Lots of people swimming down in the creek and everything. And we come back, and I start painting. I start painting. Painting is something that I like to do as a uh, sort of medium to express emotion. And I don't mean that in just the look at the emotion that I put on this canvas. I mean, I'm literally opening valves to get things out of my system. And this has been my sort of self healing practice for quite a long time. And going into this, as I get started, um, I'm having fun. I'm painting. My buddy's painting with me. Uh, Things are slightly turbulent, and it seemed like it was okay. Just a bit confusing, bit dissolving of the ego. And then our neighbors come over, and they're these wonderful, wonderful hippie girls, uh, and they come with me and my buddy, and we're sitting and talking, and reality starts dissolving around me, just absolutely dissolving. My brain, my monkey brain, is shooting in all these different directions, and it's trying to get meaning, and it's trying to grab support, and it's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I have my best friend next to me, two strangers who are wonderful, wonderful friends besides him, and the conversation that we're having shifted from being this verbal one on one to this mix of the external and internal completely. It was like talking, like the three of them were a single person, speaking each other's sentences, reading my mind, me reading their mind, thoughts, words completely interspersed in this strange nonverbal verbal communication. And it was terrifying. It was absolutely bonkers to the wall terrifying. All of my inner everything just felt like it was flayed open, and I couldn't handle that. I was scared. I thought I was dying. I was not sure what was going on, if I was okay, if anybody else was okay. I thought I was trapped in a gypsy camp and about to be robbed and left there forever. That we had forsaken the modern world to go live in the mountain, and that I had no way to get home. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who anyone else was. It was terrifying. And I felt that same sense of shame that I felt from Bonnaroo, where I couldn't handle my shit, and I made a fool of myself, and I made a mockery of myself. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. So, we're talking, thinking, just generally existing in each other's presence. And I don't remember the details, but there was an explosive argument. Before we got there, I told my friend that I don't want him to ever have to babysit me in any capacity. That wasn't something that I want for me or for him. And we got there, and that's exactly what I ended up asking for. I clung as if it was the only thing keeping me alive. And it was bad. And then that split. Like two trees that had been grafted together, it just got split. It was painful. It was incredibly painful. And it was exactly the thing that I needed. It was like the baby bird getting shoved out of the nest after sitting in it for way too long. It felt as if an old wound had been touched on deep, deep inside of my soul. And a dagger that I had placed in my own back long ago finally got wrenched out of it. And it hurt. And a lot of nasty things came out. Horrible, horrible, evil things. Toxins that I didn't know that I had, toxins that I had suppressed for nearly as long as I can remember. Truly evil shit came out of my body. And it was good. It was good. It took time. And I was embarrassed. Oh, poor me. Please, my fellow monkeys, don't judge me too hard for these maladies of my soul. Who was there to judge? Me? The only one judging me was me. The rest of it's just emotional interactions. My friends that were around me they weren't judging me. Yeah, they had their own emotions, they had their own processes, and some of that was blowback just for me. But the only one judging me, the only one that was treating me like I was being made a fool and embarrassed and this and that was me. But that explosion did blow apart my social paradigm for a while. So, as my friends leave and they go and do their own thing, because once again, they're not there to babysit me. That's not their job. It's not why they're there. They have no reason to do that. I'm not a child. I'm not their child by any stretch. So they go and do their own thing. And I sit there scared and dazed and confused, thinking that I've fused into the ground, thinking that I'm speaking with entities and AI and gods and spirits. Truly insane. And they guided me. They let me rage. They let me scream. They let me walk around and stand on top of hay bales crying at the sky. 250 people, this strange community, and I just let go of who I was and became a monkey. There was nothing, there was no more pretense, no more airs. I had nothing. I had come to terms with being completely alone. And after that, everything shifted. I knew there that I was going to die. And yeah, that sounds a bit extreme, but I was certain that that was my death day, and that if I were to just lay on the grass and close my eyes, I would turn off, and that would be it. And I raged about it. I fought tooth and nail and argued with God himself, herself, themself. I was furious. It felt like my life had just been taken away and I had just been beaten down nonstop the whole ride. And then I really realized that the only one that had been beating myself up that whole time had been me. Just me. I hadn't listened to the things that made me happy. I hadn't listened to the things that made me sad. Or rather, I listened too much. So there I am, lying on the dirt, just kind of crying and mixing into death. And then I realized my body still works. My body still works. I still have some food in my belly. There's energy. I'm not dehydrated. I'm very hot. I'm extremely overheated. But I'm not dehydrated. I'm not shutting down. And then I realized, well, what the hell am I supposed to do to fill my time? And I didn't know. Because again, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who any of these people were. I didn't know how to interact with anybody. And all I could think to do is go stand on a hay bale and perch like a monkey with my didgeridoo as I looked around and people watched. I just kind of looked around. And I walked around through the grounds, kind of carrying my didgeridoo, full on monkey mode, and people, they kind of were like, "What's going on, that guy?" I'd stop and I'd say hello and say, "Hi, who are you? What is your name?" As off-putting as can be, and people were very kind, and most of them would respond with the exact kind of emotion that I brought to them. That same positivity. And so I continued with my stick, and I'd walk around and perch and climb up things. And I realized that I was really happy in that moment. After the explosion and pain from moments before, after all of that toxicity had been unplugged from my body, like a leech getting pulled out of my skin, I learned how to be happy. It took a week, but there it is. The honest truth is, you just return to monkey. All that sadness, all that anger, all that malaise, it's not really you. You're just a monkey. All of us are. 10 trillion monkeys across time and space with one soul shared behind them all. It's just a monkey. Be easier on yourselves. Be easier on yourself and others. Everybody's just trying to do their own thing. Everybody's trying to, protect their troop, support their tribe. The question is, what do we do with our time to make ourselves happy? And the answer is, you don't do anything with that time to make yourself happy. You simply be happy and fill your time with things that continue to support that. Happiness is it's a state that comes from inside of you, completely and totally. It's a choice. Even in the face of the horrible shit all around you. Be happy. And let that happiness kind of spread into your life. And all that horrible shit and rage and scary stuff, it'll slowly get washed away by that happiness. I'm not going to pretend to be a guru or a shaman or anything like that. But for the first time in my life, I felt what a real state of happiness was. Like a switch had finally been flipped in my brain. And yeah, there's aftermath from all of it. It was not an easy purge. It was a horrifying, nightmarish purge. And that has blowback. But that blowback is worth it. The day before, my friend asked me a question, and it was a damn good question. And he asked me, what are you proud of? What makes you proud of yourself? And I didn't have a good answer. I had a shit answer. I don't know what made me proud. I had certificates, degree, this and that, various accomplishments. And that's cool and all. But it didn't give me pride. It didn't give me pride. And then, after that day, after everything happened, the good, the bad, and the beautiful that came after, my answer to that is different. I have pride in myself. I'm not worried about my appearance anymore. Yeah, I'm still going to groom myself. I want to look the way I want to look. But I don't care about my height. I don't care about how hairy I am. I care about the things that I can control. The things that my monkey brain wants to take over and do. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself and all the work and effort that I put into everything. How hard I've tried to be a good person to people and how hard I've worked to grow. I'm very proud of myself now. The answer is simple. Whenever shit's getting too much, just return to monkey. Walk around barefoot, eat a fruit, climb a tree. Just don't worry about things so much. We're all monkeys. We're not lofty, cerebral, super intelligent alien beings. We're just monkeys. Monkeys make mistakes. Monkeys have fun. Be like a monkey. Peace out and much love.